Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can audit externally shared files of members of a specific Google groups and create a report for each one of them. We will then send a report to each member to act accordingly. So the idea is that sharing files on Google Drive is extremely easy. And whilst this boosts productivity, it will come at a security risk because these files could be left shared more than what they're intended for, and then which could result in data leak and a file being accessed by the individuals who were not meant to access it. Now let's go through the flow. The flow I've created runs on a specific schedule. Um, so it's got a timer trigger. In our case, once a month. I've specified a Google group, and I've got an action to go and get a list of members of that group. Then I start looping through each group member. It start looping through the group members. For each member, what I'm doing down here, this is the most important part of the flow. I'm executing an action called list user shared files. Basically, this is an action on the Google Workspace section called users list user shared files. So let's look at the action. Like most of the actions, Zenphi, this needs a connection to execute. The difference here is that it uses a service account connection. And if you don't have one, you can create one. And if you don't know how to create it, just follow the steps in this documentation. It walks you through how to create a service account with delegated admin access. Select a connection. Next step is that you specify which users my drive you wanna, which users shared files you wanna list. I'm specifying the current email address in the for each loop. Basically, if I show you, because I'm looping through the members, sorry, down here I'm looping through the members. I select the member email address. The next setting is pretty important. That you can specify what type of files you want to retrieve. There are three types. You can specify to retrieve the files which are shared with external users, the files which are shared with a link, or the files which are shared with a domain. So if I come back here, I can quickly show you. I'll go to the sharing section. So you can share a file with an external user. You type in an email address here with the external user, you can share it. Or you can share the file through a link with anyone or with a link to the domain. So these are the two types of sharing that you can work on in Zenphi. Now, let's start going through them one by one. If you specify a shared with external email address, so that you need to specify and let Zenphi know what are the domains you consider internal. In my case, internal domains are test.zenphi.com and also zenphi.com. So if I've shared a file with anyone with email address from any one of these domains, I consider them internal. Otherwise, it would be external. Now, then the other option is the share with a link. There's no extra setting for that, and share with the domain the same. Next setting is that you can specify the search location. Here you can say where do you want to search for this user. You can search user's My Drive. You can search all the files that the user has got access to, or a shared drive that the user has got access to. If you specify a shared drive, you need to specify the shared drive ID. You can specify what to search for, both files and folders or files. So say file. Here I want to say, exclude the items in the trash. Don't bother bringing them back. And in the query, you can take it further, and if you need to be more specific on the items you want to search for, you can specify in query. If you wonder what you can put in the query, just refer to the documentation at this link. So you can use all of these settings or combinations of them. You can say, or search only the files whose name may contain hello or equals hello, or the files who may have a specific text, maybe the files who've got social security number, or a mixture of them, or just a Google Docs which may have social security number. So you can specify them in the query. We can specify how many files at a time you want to execute. So we keep it to under 1,000 at a time, so that we don't hit the throttling limits of Google Drive API for your account. While we're at this action, I want to highlight another important aspect of it. You for these kind of files, you always want to specify retries and even multiple retries. I want to say, if the file fails, retry. If the action fails, retry after 1 minute. Then again, if it fails, retry after 2 minutes and retry after 3 minutes or 10 minutes. The idea is that you may be running multiple applications on your Google Drive, and you may hit the throttling limit or hit the quota usage of your Google Drive for that minute. You may want to wait and retry the action after a bit. So luckily, Zenphi has got built-in functionality to do this. You can even go and say, you know what, I'm running this in the middle of the night. If it fails, wait for 1 hour and try, because no one is waiting for the result to come back. So you can configure all those things, and I do recommend you do it. So once we have the result, we add them to a collection variable set. The other thing I want to highlight is the concept of the paging. Because we process 1,000 items at a time, we want to keep moving forward, process the next 1,000 batch and the next 1,000 batch and the next 1,000 batch for the user till we process everything. The way we do it is, first of all, I've created a variable here called next page token. I've got a loop of 100 iterations, or up to 100. I can change it to 200 iterations. And every time, see what's happening. I'm passing this next page token. So first time I'm passing it, it's empty. So it's going to start from the beginning. And here I check if the result of this executing the action, the next page token, the actual result of it, if it's empty, go and break the loop. That means there's no more files to process for this specific user, move on. Otherwise, I set it to the variable, and the next iteration of it, the next page token gets passed, and then it starts executing the next 1,000. Okay, while we have processed everything, let me collapse this action. Come here, I've got a template. Here, I've created a template. I want to for each user, I want to create one of these, a copy of this template and populate the file. Let's go back to the action here, so to the flow. Once I make a copy of the template, I add all the files that I've found to the template. I export it to PDF and send it to the user to review and act on. Now, let's do this. Let me save this and do a test run. I'm going to start a new instance. So this group has got 2 members. So it's going to execute the action for 2 members and monitor this folder where the generated reports are going to get stored on. So it's done it for the first user. If it's going to have to export it to PDF in a second. Yep, here's a PDF version of it. If I open it, let's see. Okay, the first user has only got one shared files, and it's shared through link sharing. Let's wait for the second user's file to appear. Okay, the second user's took a bit longer. Obviously, the second user has got a lot more files. Let's see how many shared files the second user's got. It's got just a few as well. So zoom in a bit. So this user has got around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 files. 5 of them are shared through link sharing. One of them is shared with an external email address. And if you notice, even the email address gets specified in the report. So just like that, you can generate a report and audit the files shared externally by members of a specific Google groups, and then you can take it further. I mean, there's a lot of customizations. Say you want to run it for everyone in your organization, so you can use the search users actions search user action, which retrieves all the users in your organization, and run the same logic for every user as a result of this action instead of the only members of this group. You can also take it further. Like in some cases, we've seen some of our users, they create templates like this where they, instead of just emailing the user, they send the file to the user and assign a task to the user to take action on. So they get a report like this in a Google Sheet, and for each file they can specify if they want to keep the permission as it, restrict the file permission, like remove an external shell, or delete the files. And then once they respond to the task, so it's not a one-way communication with Zenphi. The task is assigned to them. They respond to the task. When the task gets responded, they can take action on it like this. They can, based on the action specified for each file, they can either go and remove the sharing, Zenphi automatically does it, or delete the file or leave the file alone. So basically, you can take it to the last mile, do it end to end, automate it end to end on Zenphi, and then keep auditing and customize it to your own needs. So the other usage of it would be running this a process like this as part of your offboarding process. When you want to offboard a user, you may normally companies suspend the user account and then they delete the account after a month or 2 or 3. But in the meantime, if the user has shared any file externally, they'll be accessible. So you may want to run a process like this to remove the files which are being shared externally when before the user is suspended or after the user is suspended. So you can customize like everything in Zenphi. You can customize it to your own needs. Well, one more thing to call out is you can do the same thing for shared drives. So if there's a specific shared drive or specific shared drives you want to audit, you can do the same. You can use the action to list shared drives, get all the shared drives in your organization, and run the same action basically for each shared drive. I hope you find this useful, and please reach out if you've got any questions or you've got any suggestions. Thank you very much.